Imagine being trapped in a cycle of negativity where every day feels like a battle against everyone else's mood swings, demands, and expectations. It's like you're stuck in quicksand, and the more you try to fight it, the deeper you sink. Now, imagine if I told you there's a way out, a secret pathway that's been hidden in plain sight for centuries, used by the wisest minds to not just escape the quicksand, but to walk above it, unscathed. This isn't a fairy tale or an empty promise. It's a tool as old as time, yet as relevant today as ever before. A mindset that can turn your biggest struggles into your greatest victories. Stay with me, because today we're not just talking about coping mechanisms, we're talking about transforming the way you see the world, your problems, and yourself. Today, we unlock the power of Stoicism, and I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll not only see your challenges differently, but you'll also have the tools to conquer them. So buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into one of the most life-changing philosophies you've ever encountered. And hey, before we get started, smash that subscribe button, share this with someone who hates being stuck in emotional quicksand as much as you do. Hit like if you're ready to conquer, and stick around till the end. No skipping, unless you're a time traveler here just for the spoilers. 1. Dealing with difficult people. All right, let's dive into the heart of the matter, dealing with difficult people. And I mean, who hasn't had their fair share of run-ins with someone who just seems to push all the wrong buttons, right? It's like every interaction is a test of patience you never signed up for. But here's where our friend Stoicism walks in, cool as a cucumber, with some ancient wisdom that's about to change the game. So, Stoicism, huh? It's this incredible philosophy that's been around since ancient Greece and Rome, teaching us the art of living a good life, no matter what's thrown our way. And when it comes to handling difficult folks, Stoicism is like having a secret superpower. Picture this. Someone's being a real pain, testing your patience to the limits. The old you might have reacted, maybe snapped back or got upset. But the Stoic you see things differently. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor renowned for his Stoic wisdom, offered this insightful guidance. Your control lies within your mind, not in the external events around you. Realize this, and you will find strength. What he's saying is, we can't control what others say or do, but we can control how we respond. Imagine having this mental shield, right? Someone's negativity comes flying at you, and instead of hitting you, it just bounces off. That's Stoicism in action. Now, applying this to those tough characters in our lives means first accepting we can't change them. I know, it's a bummer. But what we can do is change our reaction to them. It's about not letting them live rent-free in our heads. Why should we let someone else's bad vibes dictate how we feel, right? But here's the trick. It's not about being emotionless or pretending everything's fine. Stoicism isn't about suppression. It's about management. It's recognizing those feelings of annoyance or anger, acknowledging them, and then deciding, you know what? I'm not going to let this ruin my day. It's choosing not to add a rock to that metaphorical backpack of negativity we're all carrying around. And this doesn't mean you have to take it lying down. Setting boundaries is key. Sometimes you might need to say, hey, this isn't okay, but from a place of calm and clarity, not from a reactive emotional state. And yeah, sometimes minimizing your interaction with these energy vampires is the way to go. Remember, it's not about giving them the cold shoulder. It's about protecting your peace. When faced with a challenging person, take a deep breath and remember the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Remind yourself that your peace of mind, your inner citadel, is yours to protect. And trust me, the more you practice this, the easier it gets. You start to see these difficult interactions not as battles to be won, but as opportunities to strengthen your mental fortitude, to practice patience, understanding, and maybe even compassion. Stoicism teaches us that the only person we have control over is ourselves, and in that control lies our freedom, the freedom to choose not to let others disturb our peace. So, let's keep that mental shield polished and ready, because life's too short to let the difficult people get us down. Let's choose to respond with strength, wisdom, and a little bit of that stoic coolness. By framing our approach to difficult people through the lens of Stoicism, we not only shield ourselves from negativity, but also grow in resilience and wisdom. It's about turning everyday challenges into lessons on maintaining our serenity and inner strength. And that, my friends, is a life skill worth mastering. 2. Reducing negative impact. We all know someone who can turn a perfectly good day into something we'd rather forget. But here's where our Stoic strategy comes into play, turning their rain into, well, maybe not sunshine, but at least a manageable drizzle. So Stoicism isn't just about enduring pain or discomfort, it's about transforming our perspective on it. It teaches us that the impact of someone's negativity is, to a large extent, up to us. It's like being in a boat in the middle of a storm. We can't stop the storm, but we sure can learn to sail our boat better. Think about it this way. Every negative comment, every irritating action from someone else is like a rock being thrown into your backpack. Carry enough rocks and you'll start to feel weighed down, maybe even stuck. Stoicism says, hey, how about we stop picking up those rocks? It's a simple idea but revolutionary when you put it into practice. Now, I'm not saying you become Teflon coated overnight, where everything just slides off. It's more about deciding not to give these moments more attention or energy than they deserve. When someone's negativity comes your way, you have a choice. Pick up that rock or let it pass by. And sure, sometimes we'll pick up a rock without thinking. It happens. But the key is realizing you're doing it and deciding to put it down. This also means being mindful of our own thoughts and reactions. Stoicism teaches us about the power of our thoughts and how they can shape our reality. If someone says something mean and we keep replaying it in our heads, who's really keeping the negativity alive? Us, not them. It's like letting them live rent-free in your head, and they're not even a good tenant. So, how do we evict them? First, by recognizing when we're dwelling on these negatives. Acknowledge the thought, then consciously choose to focus on something positive or productive. It's about redirecting our energy from what we can't control, their actions, to what we can, our thoughts and reactions. Creating boundaries plays a big part here too. This isn't about building walls, but rather setting limits to protect our peace. Sometimes this means physically stepping away from a situation or person. Other times it's more about emotional boundaries, like not letting someone else's mood dictate ours. And yes, this process of not picking up rocks, of managing our thoughts and reactions, it takes practice. But every time we choose not to let someone's negativity affect us, we're strengthening our mental resilience. We're learning to sail our boat with more skill, no matter the storm. The Stoics had it right. It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. By changing our judgments, by choosing not to pick up those rocks, we're taking back our power. We're choosing not to be victims of someone else's negativity, but rather masters of our own peace. And remember, every rock you don't pick up is a step towards a lighter backpack, a clearer mind, and a happier you. 3. Protecting your mental space. All right, let's get into something super important. Protecting your mental space. Think of your mind as your personal sanctuary, your own private garden. Would you let just anyone trample all over it, leaving footprints on your nicely trimmed lawn? I didn't think so. But when we let difficult people get to us, that's exactly what we're doing. So how do we keep our garden pristine? Stoicism has some pretty neat answers. Now, Stoicism is often misunderstood as being emotionless or detached, but that's not the case at all. It's actually about recognizing our emotions, understanding them, and then choosing not to let them control us. It's like being the gatekeeper of your mind and deciding who or what gets to come in. Seneca, one of the big names in Stoicism, talked a lot about not letting external events disturb our peace, and that includes the actions and words of others. The truth is, we can't control what people say or do, but we can control how much we let it affect us. This is where the concept of not giving a fig, in a very classy Stoic way, of course, comes into play. It's deciding that some things, or people, just aren't worth your energy. Protecting your mental space starts with awareness. You've got to be aware of what triggers you, what kind of reactions you have, and how these reactions affect your inner peace. Once you're aware, you can start to make changes. Instead of reacting on impulse, you pause. That pause is powerful. It's your moment to choose a different response, one that keeps your mental garden peaceful and intact. But here's where it gets really interesting. Stoicism teaches us about something called the dichotomy of control. It's a fancy way of saying there are things we can control and things we can't. And the key to happiness, focusing on what we can control. When someone's being difficult, we can't control them, but we can control our reaction. This might mean taking a few deep breaths, stepping away, or even just changing the topic of conversation. It's about keeping your cool and not letting them disrupt your mental peace. Another Stoic strategy is reframing how we see things. Instead of seeing a difficult person as a thorn in your side, you can view them as an opportunity to practice patience, compassion, or even assertiveness. It's like turning every annoying interaction into a mini training session for your soul. And let's not forget about setting boundaries. Protecting your mental space often means saying no or setting limits on how much time and energy you give to others, especially those who drain you. Remember, it's not selfish to take care of your mental health. It's necessary. So here's the takeaway. You are the master of your mental space. You decide what gets in and what stays out. Every time you choose not to let someone's negativity affect you, you're strengthening your mental fortitude. You're practicing Stoicism in the most practical sense. Protecting your mental space is about choosing where to focus your attention and energy. It's about not letting the external chaos disturb your inner peace, and every step you take to guard your mental garden is a step towards a more peaceful, fulfilled life. Remember that your mental space is sacred, and you have the power to protect it. And with each decision to maintain your peace, you're not just surviving, you're thriving stoically. 4. Conclusion and reflection. And here we are, at the end of our journey together today, reflecting on the powerful lessons Stoicism has shared with us. It's been quite the ride, hasn't it? We've navigated through dealing with difficult people, shedding unnecessary negativity, and safeguarding our precious mental space. All through the lens of Stoicism, a philosophy that's not just about ancient texts, but is incredibly relevant and alive in our everyday lives. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, if there's one thing I hope you carry with you, it's the realization that your peace, your serenity, and your inner strength are, and always will be, within your control. It's a liberating concept, really. The idea that despite the chaos of the world around us, the calm within us is ours to cultivate and maintain. Stoicism teaches us the value of focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't. It's about acknowledging that while we can't dictate the actions of others, we can certainly control our reactions to them. And that's where our power lies. It's in the choice to respond with patience, with understanding, and, when necessary, with firm boundaries. But Stoicism isn't just about personal peace. It's also about personal growth. Every challenging interaction, every moment of negativity we encounter is an opportunity to practice our Stoic principles. To ask ourselves, how can I handle this with grace? How can I grow from this experience? It's about seeing the obstacles not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones on our path to becoming more resilient, more compassionate, and more aligned with our values. I want to encourage you to keep reflecting on these Stoic teachings. Let them marinate. See how they apply not just in dealing with difficult people, but in every aspect of your life. Whether it's facing a setback, navigating uncertainty, or simply striving to be a better version of yourself, remember that your attitude and your actions are yours to choose. And that's a powerful thing. As we wrap up, I want to thank you for joining me on this Stoic journey. It's been a privilege to share these ancient yet timeless wisdoms with you. I hope they serve you well, not just today, but in the days, months, and years to come. Remember, the pursuit of Stoicism is a journey, not a destination. It's about constant learning, adapting, and applying these principles to our lives in meaningful ways. So, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep growing. And if today's chat has sparked something in you, consider diving deeper into the world of Stoicism. There's a wealth of knowledge out there waiting to be discovered, and who knows how it might transform your life. And if this message has sparked a flame within you, I invite you to dive deeper into the transformative power of Stoicism by exploring the playlist on your screen. There, you'll find more insights, more strategies, and more stories to inspire and guide you on your journey.